heel. Okay. I'm going to show you how I taught both my girls to heel with just the word. So, this isn't a video on teaching to walk and heel. This is just, Zelda, heel. Just going in the position when I say it. Good girl. So, we start out with a lot of leering. Let me get you out. Get it! So what I'll do is make sure they're following the trait first, and they have that drive down. And then I will begin to leer them. Yes! And I only reward when their butt touches the ground, so it's kind of a multi-step leer is what I'll do. Because since I want it to turn into an automatic sit, I will kind of leer. Yes! Then I'll reward. Then I'll get her out. And I always start without even saying the cue. And I did this for like a couple weeks of just leering so they get used to, you know, how they're supposed to move their body. Yes, the position I'm rewarding them in. And, good girl. Just basically what I'm asking of them. So they'll get used to moving their body a certain way to get a nice heel. Good. Yes. And after they start, you know, can easily go in that position just from leering them. And you can do this step for as long as your dog might need. It might take longer. It just depends on the dog. For certain dogs learn at different paces. Just gotta test that out. And once, you know, they're able to move semi-flawlessly, I guess, it's not a bunch of moving too much or not moving the butt enough to be able to leer into that heel, you can start adding in a command, such as obviously heel. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna repeat that step. What I will do is I will say the word and then I will leer her in. So that way I make sure she is listening to what I'm saying and not just focus on trying to get the treat. Zelda, heel. And then I'll leer her. Yes! Immediately mark and reward when she's in the correct position. And then I'll get her away. You can either throw a treat or just leer them out of the position. Oh, also, if you want them to stay in that position until you release them, as you teach them the heel, then you can release. But you can always teach that later too, so I'm not very focused on that right now. I just want them to get the concept of going in the position when they hear the word. So I'll say heel, put the treat up. Yes, you can also move your own, move your body around to help them out to get in the position if that helps. I know it's helped me a lot, especially with her, as she likes to use her head for literally everything. Okay, that's my finger. Then I'll repeat that. Zelda. Heel. Then I'll put the treat up to her face. I'll leer her in the position, get the butt down. Yes! And I'll mark and reward. And I will repeat this until I gradually take that leer away. So it's not has to be right up to her face. So then I will say the cue, give her a second, and then leer. Heel. Leer. Yes. Good. Good girl. Heel. Yes. And you can start not having a direct leer right up to their face. And instead kind of bring your hand up as you're leering them in the position. So I'll say heel. So kind of like that, you know, right out of their reach. So they're still following it with their eyes, which will get their body moving, but it's not direct help. Yes. Obviously she already knows it, so she already wants to do it when she hears the word heel. Then we'll leer, kind of move them. Yes. And you just want to repeat this until you can start really nearly taking away that leer. once they start understanding what the word means, they'll start associating this position with a word rather than just what your body's doing. So won't just think, oh, this hand is moving around like this and that's the cue to get in this position. Instead, they'll associate, oh, I hear this word, that's the cue to get in this position. So that's why you want to take that leer away, because otherwise they can just associate the body movements, motions you're doing with this position rather than the actual word, which is also why I say the word without the treat right up against their face, and then I'll put it on their face, because otherwise they could get so focused on just trying to go for this, they're not actually listening to what I'm saying. Good girl, especially her, because she's so food motivated. Okay, so now, really, ta-da! Okay, what we're gonna do is I'm going to put the treat in my opposite hand, and I'm going to pretend there's a treat in this hand. So I'm going to hold this hand as if I did have a treat in it, but there's nothing. It's in this hand, ready to reward. So I will still do the motions with this hand without the treat. So I'll say heel, trying to move her. Yes. So this kind of acts as a touch marker. Her face will be touching this hand as it moves around. And that will help really get her with the heel without needing a direct reward at the ready. I only have one more treat on. So then, okay, I'll release. Treat in this hand, my leering hand. Okay. Yeah. And since like teaching it where you use this hand is, you know, as a leer without treats as well, and as like a touch hand, a touch command, but not using it as a command, just, I'm lost, I'm tired. It can help with other things, using, you know, you start with a leer with teaching other things, and then you gradually hold the treat in this hand, but still use this hand as a guide. You can do a lot of things, just like that. It's a guide, just like it's a guide, like if I were to do this, it's still my guide. So, this, doing it where you just use this as a guide will help define other things you might want to teach. Anyways, okay. So we're going to do nothing in this hand. She just likes touching it for some reason. And then, oh, another good thing to know, what you can also do when starting to take away the direct leer is patting your leg as a cue to heel. Like that. Doing this, snapping your fingers. She doesn't like that. There is many subtle cues other than like a kind of hand motion like that. With my other dog, I a lot of times would pat my leg. It worked really well for her. You just gotta figure out. But as long as they know to do the command with the, like as the end result heel, if they know how to do it with just the vocal cue, then that's all we count. The way you get there, you can do whatever you want, whatever works for you. Patting of the leg, indirectly, you know, using this hand as a guide when their nose is touching it and use it as a guide, or snapping your fingers. Whatever works, as long as the end result becomes just where they can hear just the cue. Okay, so now what we'll do is heel, use my hands. Yes, it's very good to give them a second, so that way they can think of what you're saying, and that gives you the option to see where how their progress is coming along, and if they're actually listening to the word you're saying, because you can see a lot if they're listening to it, even if they're confused, but they're still listening to it. Okay. Okay. Come on. Heel. Yes. So I'm easing how much I leer with this hand now. And then you just repeat these steps and again gradually take away the leer. You could always go back a step if they start struggling. And once it comes to like, okay, you got them where they can go in heel position when you say it, but it's not like a straight heel or as close as you might want it. You can always go back. I still go back with leering. Good. to perfect speed and the exact position, because this is what I want. Even like the head position, making sure she's squared. Okay? I always go back and up speed and all that. So you can always go back with that to perfect more things. It doesn't need to be perfect once you first teach them to really go in this position with just the vocal cue, because you can always improve on it. Okay. It's just preference. And if you keep, following those steps, both my girls it's worked with. As dogs know better, they learn better with what you tell them is the right thing rather than what is wrong. So that's why you tell them the word so they can hear it, and then you help if they need. Whether it be subtle shifts of your body, a little leg tap, snapping of the fingers, hand leer without treat, or if you need to, go back with the treat. And then I'll make a separate video on like walking and heel. Back. This is just how to begin teaching your dog to. Oh my gosh, I'm so. This is just the beginning of teaching your dog the word heel and what position that implies, which is right at my hip, right next to me. Her shoulder, I expect this shoulder to be in line with my calf. Good girl, sit. And that's like what I prefer. I prefer her to be able to, her shoulder with my calf, and me to be able to easily touch her, and if we're especially stopped, her touching me, my leg. Good girl. So I like a more close heel. Back. And then you can kind of mess around with, actually, once you taught the position itself, you can mess around with little, really improving it by every time before you step, you say, heel, back. And then you would take, I have like no space in here. So you take a step, you'd say heel, take a step, one step, and then you lay her back in the spot. Heel. Good girl. Take a step, heel. Yes. And so that way they can better understand that heel really does mean right here. So even when you take a step, heel, they stay there. And that will be another good basis of working towards a heel. But that's how I taught it with both my dogs. I'm in the process of teaching it with the third occupant. And he's already picking it up. Not as fast, but he does really enjoy it, and I found it still does work really well. And he's already improved. I'm probably going to just always teach a heel position this way. I found it works really well. It's easy. It doesn't overcomplicate things. I also know when it comes to teaching a heel position, if you don't feel starting out with like them in front and leering them around, because I know that could be a little confusing on getting them to move a certain way, you can start with them behind you while you are in front. Here, let's see if I have another treat. I have like two more. Oh, nice. But what you can do, so for instance, sit. You don't have to like put him in a position to be behind you, but I'm just going to do that because I have no space in here. So if you can't figure out the whole motion with your hand to get them in that, or it still needs work, but you just want them to learn to go in heel position, then you can start out. I've done this with her as well. You can start out in front of them, so that way it's a super easy leer. Sada, heel, which is just walking right up to it. Yes. Okay, so that's a lot easier, especially if even the dog doesn't know how to properly move yet, which can be a little difficult for them. When they still need work, if you still need work, then just having them behind you as you step forward and heel. Good. And I like to, especially with this, I hold my hand here even without a treat. The cue that they're in the right spot is they tap my hand with their nose. Okay. But yeah, that's how I taught heel. A little simpler way was that one. If I know, especially with the dog I'm training right now, their main handler, I guess, struggles a lot with whole hand movements, so I know that can be difficult. So that's why, just being in front while first teaching it can be a little easier for both parties involved, the dog and the handler. So I hope this helps. I know someone requested me to teach how I taught them to just go in the position when I say it. They're both really good at it now. That was 3 weeks ago, so I'm a little behind, but I hope this helps. Good girl. Zelda's a little lazy because it's late. And she's like, we were sleeping a second ago. How could you? Now I'm ranting. Okay. But yeah, that's how I taught heel, so I hope this helps. I hope it was at least a little understandable. I tried. I'm still trying.